Somewhere beneath the surface of the Pacific Ocean, off the coast of Japan's most remote island, lies something that has no agreed explanation. Not a shipwreck, not a coral reef, something that looks deliberate. In 1986, a local diver stumbled onto this structure by accident. He had no idea what it was. Neither, it turns out, does anyone else. This is the Yonaguni Monument, and this is what we know, and what we still can't explain. To understand why this discovery shook the world, or at least a significant corner of it, you first need to understand where it was found. Yonaguni Island sits at the very end of Japan's Ryukyu Island chain, a long arc of islands that curves south and west from Okinawa. It is closer to Taipei than it is to Tokyo. It is, by any reasonable definition, in the middle of nowhere. The island has about 1,700 permanent residents. Its economy runs on fishing, a little tourism, and the famous Yonaguni horse, one of the smallest horse breeds in the world. In the summer of 1986, a local dive tour operator named Kihachiro Aratake was doing what he often did, exploring the waters off the island's southern coast, looking for new dive sites to show visitors. What he found, at a depth of around 5 meters, along the coast near the area called Iseki Point, stopped him completely. Stone, massive stone, flat-topped, terraced, geometric. Aratake was not a geologist. He was not an archaeologist. But he knew that what he was looking at did not look natural. Word spread, first among local divers, then among marine researchers, then, slowly, to the rest of the world. The site was eventually given an official Japanese designation, Yonaguni Jima Kaite Chike, which translates simply as the Yonaguni Island submarine topography. Not exactly a name that captures the imagination, but what it describes, that's another matter entirely. Before we can debate what the Yonaguni Monument is, we need to describe it precisely, because the facts alone are remarkable. The main structure, sometimes called the main terrace, is enormous, roughly 150 meters long, 40 meters wide, and standing nearly 27 meters tall. To put that in perspective, that is roughly the height of an 8-story building. Underwater, the structure has flat, near-vertical walls. In several places, these walls meet at angles so close to 90 degrees that they look machined. The top surface is unusually level, broad and flat, in a way that seems inconsistent with random natural erosion. Running along and up the structure are what appear to be steps, wide, regular stone steps, some of them over a meter in height. If you were designing a monumental staircase, this is what it might look like. Along the southern face, researchers have documented a series of parallel trenches, deep, straight grooves cut into the rock at regular intervals. Natural water erosion tends to be irregular. These are not. There are also 2 pillar-like formations standing close together, which some researchers describe as columns. Whether they are structural or coincidental, they are striking. Perhaps the most debated feature is a rounded mound on the upper surface of the structure, roughly oval in shape, which some researchers have nicknamed the turtle, because they say it resembles a carved stone tortoise. And then there is the face. In the rock face of the structure, there is a formation that a number of researchers and many divers believe resembles a human face. 2 indentations that could be eyes, a protruding ridge that could be a nose, a horizontal groove that could be a mouth. Is it a carved face? Or is it pareidolia, the deeply human tendency to see faces in random patterns? That question, like almost everything about Yonaguni, remains unanswered. One final detail worth noting. The main platform appears to be oriented roughly toward the east, toward the direction of sunrise. Whether that alignment is intentional or coincidental is, of course, part of the debate. Now, here is where intellectual honesty matters. Because the most straightforward explanation for the Yonaguni Monument, the one favored by a significant number of credentialed geologists, is that it is entirely natural, not ancient, not man-made, not mysterious, just rock. The leading scientific voice for this position is Robert Schoch, a geologist and professor at Boston University, who dived the site extensively in the 1990s. Schoch's argument is this: the rock at Yonaguni is a type of Miocene sandstone, a fine-grained, layered rock that was deposited in horizontal sheets over millions of years. This type of sandstone has a well-documented tendency to fracture along its natural stress lines, and those fracture lines are frequently straight, flat, and arranged at right angles. In other words, the geometry that looks deliberate to us may simply be the geometry of the rock itself. Flat tops, vertical walls, right-angled corners, all of these can be produced by natural geological processes acting on this type of stone over very long periods of time. Schoch also points to a critically important fact. Despite extensive exploration of the site, no archaeologist has ever recovered a single artifact from the Yonaguni structure. No pottery, no tools, no human remains, no evidence of any kind of human activity. In archaeology, absence of evidence is not always evidence of absence, but it matters a lot. Similar naturally occurring blocky formations have been documented elsewhere in Japan and around the world, including locations not associated with any ancient civilization. The stone column formations at Devil's Postpile in California or the Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland show how nature is fully capable of producing geometric structures that appear, to the untrained eye, almost impossibly regular. And the tectonic context here is significant. The Ryukyu Islands sit atop one of the most seismically active regions on Earth. Earthquakes, faulting, uplift, and subsidence over geological time. These forces can do extraordinary things to rock. To be absolutely clear, the natural formation hypothesis is not a fringe position. It is the position held by many, perhaps most, professional geologists who have studied the site. It deserves to be taken seriously. But it is not the only serious position. The most sustained scientific case for the Yonaguni Monument being man-made comes from a single researcher who has spent more time at this site than perhaps anyone else alive. Musi-chan. His name is Masaaki Kimura. He is a professor of marine geology and seismology at the University of the Ryukyus. He is not a crank. He is not a conspiracy theorist. He is a credentialed scientist who has published peer-reviewed research on this site. And after more than 15 years of systematic diving and mapping, more than 100 dives, he concluded that Yonaguni shows clear evidence of human modification. Let's go through his evidence carefully. First, the post holes. Kimura documented a series of small, circular depressions in the rock surface that he believes are post holes, the kind of holes that would be left by wooden structural supports. Natural erosion does not produce circular holes. Drilling does. Second, the road. Running along the base of the main terrace, Kimura mapped what he describes as a broad, flat avenue, a pathway wide enough to walk along, bordered on both sides by stone. In his interpretation, this is an ancient road. Third, the star-shaped platform. On the upper surface of the structure, Kimura identified a formation he believes is a purposely shaped, five-pointed platform, an intentional geometric construction that cannot be explained by random fracturing. Fourth, and this is perhaps the most compelling observational argument, is the sheer consistency of the structure as a whole. Natural geological formations tend to be irregular. They vary. They produce some flat surfaces and some chaotic surfaces, some right angles and some random fractures. The Yonaguni Monument, across its entire visible extent, maintains a remarkably consistent architectural logic. It looks, to put it plainly, like something that was designed to look the way it looks. Kimura's proposed interpretation is this. The Yonaguni Monument is the remnant of a ceremonial or administrative complex, possibly a castle, a shrine, or a ritual platform built by a prehistoric people who lived on this coastline at a time when it was dry land. That brings us to the timeline question, and this is where geology and archaeology converge in an uncomfortable way. The site sits between 5 and 27 meters below the current sea level. For it to have been built on dry land, it would have had to be above water at some point in the past. Geologists have calculated that based on the post-Ice Age sea level rise in this region, the Yonaguni site would have been above water approximately 10,000 years ago, possibly longer. 10,000 years ago. That is before the construction of the Egyptian pyramids, before Stonehenge, before the earliest known writing systems, before, in most accepted timelines, the emergence of complex civilization. If the Yonaguni Monument was built by human hands, whoever built it belongs to a chapter of history we haven't written yet. It is worth noting that this site has attracted attention from popular writers like Graham Hancock, who connects Yonaguni to a broader theory about a lost global civilization. Hancock's work is widely read and has introduced millions of people to these ideas, but it is important to be precise. His work is not peer-reviewed science. It is compelling speculation. That distinction matters. Whether or not Yonaguni was built by human hands, the question it raises is one of the most profound in all of archaeology. What happened to the world that existed before the seas rose? At the height of the last ice age, roughly 20,000 years ago, enormous quantities of water were locked up in glaciers and ice sheets. Global sea levels were, by conservative scientific estimates, somewhere between 100 and 120 meters lower than they are today. Think about what that means for coastlines. Vast stretches of what is now shallow ocean were then dry land. The continental shelves, the gently sloping underwater ledges that ring most of Earth's land masses, were exposed. People lived there. We know this because we have found their tools, their hearths, their footprints, preserved under the sea floor in places as far apart as the North Sea, the Gulf of Mexico, and the coast of Southeast Asia. The people who lived in this region during the late Ice Age are called the Jomon. They are the ancestors of the indigenous people of Japan, one of the oldest continuous cultures in the world, with evidence of settlement going back at least 14,000 years. They were not primitive. They made pottery before almost any other people on Earth. They had complex social structures. They were fully human, with the same cognitive capacities as anyone alive today. If any of them built permanent structures along the coastline at a time when the sea was lower, those structures would now be underwater. Most would be unrecognizable, buried under sediment, destroyed by 15,000 years of tidal action. But some, in the right geological conditions, might survive. Yonaguni is not the only site raising these questions. Off the coast of western India, near the ancient city of Dwarka, sonar surveys have identified submerged geometric structures at depths consistent with the post-Ice Age sea level rise. In the Bahamas, a formation known as the Bimini Road has been disputed as natural or man-made for decades. In the Gulf of Cambay in India, a large-scale underwater site was reported in 2001, though its nature remains deeply contested. Are these connected? Are they evidence of a global pattern of coastal civilization lost to rising seas? Or are they independent curiosities, each with their own mundane explanation? We do not know. And that is not a satisfying answer, but it is an honest one. So where does the scientific consensus actually stand on Yonaguni today? The honest answer is, there is no consensus. What there is instead is a genuine and unresolved scientific debate, the kind that does not make headlines precisely because it refuses to resolve neatly into either of the dramatic conclusions that would make it a better story. Most mainstream marine geologists, when asked directly, lean toward the natural formation explanation. The sandstone fracture argument is geologically sound. The absence of artifacts is a serious evidentiary problem for the man-made hypothesis, and the scientific community tends appropriately toward parsimony, the simplest explanation that fits the evidence. But parsimony is not proof, and the absence of artifacts does not mean no artifacts exist, only that none have been found yet in a site that is difficult, dangerous, and expensive to systematically survey. Kimura's research has been published in peer-reviewed journals and has not been definitively refuted. It has been questioned, challenged, and disputed. That is exactly how science is supposed to work. His work remains part of the academic literature. It is also worth noting what official bodies have not done. UNESCO has not designated Yonaguni a cultural heritage site. The Japanese government has not funded a systematic archaeological excavation. These are not trivial facts. They reflect an institutional judgment that the evidence for human origin is, at present, insufficient to justify those steps. They do not mean the question is closed. The Yonaguni Monument exists. Its geometry is unusual enough to sustain serious scientific disagreement. It was above water at a time when modern humans were present in this region, and no definitive evidence of either purely natural origin or human construction has been established. Science does not say Yonaguni is definitely natural. It says we currently lack sufficient evidence to confirm it is man-made. Those are very different statements, and the difference between them is where the mystery lives. There is something specific that Yonaguni does to people who encounter it, whether in person or through a screen. It produces a particular kind of unease, not the unease of fear, something closer to the unease of scale, of confronting how small our documented history is compared to how long humans have actually been here. Recorded human history covers roughly 5,000 years. Modern humans have existed for at least 300,000 years. The gap between those two numbers is vast, and most of what happened in that gap, most of the lives lived, the ideas thought, the structures built, is gone, dissolved by time, eroded by weather, swallowed by rising seas. Yonaguni sits at the edge of what we know. Whether it is the product of human hands or geological time, it is a reminder that the ocean holds a version of history we have not yet read. The floor of the world's oceans remains more than 80% unexplored. We have better maps of the surface of Mars than we do of the deep sea floor. Whatever Yonaguni is, it is probably not alone. The sea does not reveal its secrets easily. Perhaps Yonaguni is nothing more than stone, shaped by 1,000,000 years of pressure and water. Perhaps it is the last breath of a world we have entirely forgotten. Either way, we keep diving, because the question matters more than the answer. If Yonaguni raised more questions than it answered for you, you are in exactly the right place. Every mystery we cover on this channel is chosen for the same reason, because the truth is still out there, and it is worth looking for. Subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. And I want to know, drop your theory in the comments. Natural formation, ancient structure, or something else entirely. The best comment I read might just become the opening of the next video. Next time, we go somewhere else entirely. Somewhere the mystery is just as deep and just as old. Stay with us.